Assalamualaikum and very warm welcome to Dr. Fatimah. And today, we will be presenting our topic, which is in Chapter 9, Climate Change and Spawning Synchronization.
So let's start by introducing our team, and let's start with Eliza, Alia, Akila, Haniza, Nurin, and the last one is me, Soleha.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, my name is Siti Salah Ismail and today I talk about our presentation on the topic of climate change and spawning synchronization. Spawning is the process where aquatic animals such as fish and corals release their eggs and sperm into water. In this species, fertilization occurs outside the body through external fertilization. To increase productive success, many species use synchronized spawning where they release their gametes at the same time. This improves the chance of fertilization, reduce gamete loss, and support species survival. Next, we will look at the physiological mechanism that regulate spawning.
Before spawning occurs, animals rely on environmental cues to know when conditions are suitable for reproduction. First, temperature changes signal the breeding seasons, and optimum temperature stimulates hormone release and gamete maturation. Next, photoperiod or day length is detected by the brain and helps synchronize spawning among individuals. Finally, the lunar cycles influence spawning in many marine species. Moonlight and tidal changes coordinate the simultaneous release of eggs and sperm, increasing the chance of successful external fertilization. Once environmental cues are detected, the brain pituitary gonad or BPG axis is activated. First, the hypothalamus releases gonadotrophin release hormone or GnRH. GnRH stimulates the pituitary gland to release follicle stimulating hormone or FSH and luteinizing hormone or LH. These hormones act on the ovaries or testes where FSH promotes the growth and maturation of eggs and sperm while LH triggers their final maturation and initiates spawning. As a result, mature gametes are released simultaneously, allowing successful external fertilization. Now, let's take a look at the role of each hormone in gametes maturation. GnRH, released by hypothalamus, stimulates the pituitary gland to produce FSH and LH. FSH promotes the growth and maturation of eggs in females and supports sperm production in males. LH then triggers the final maturation of these gametes and stimulates their release during spawning. As a result, both eggs and sperm become fully matured and capable of fertilization, ensuring successful reproduction. The normal spawning process begins when animals detect environmental cues such as temperature, day length, and the lunar cycles, indicating that conditions are suitable for reproduction. This signal active when BPG axis, causing the hypothalamus to release GnRH, which stimulates the pituitary gland to secrete FSH and LH. These hormones promote gamete maturation. Finally, males and females release mature sperm and eggs into the water at the same time, where external fertilization occurs, producing embryos that later hatch into larvae.
Now, let's look at how climate change affects spawning in marine animals, specifically how it leads to something called asynchronous spawning. First, rising ocean temperature alter environmental cues. Marine animals like coral, mussel, and fish depend heavily on environmental signal to know exactly when to reproduce. These cues include seasonal temperature shift, lunar cycle, and photoperiod. But as ocean temperature continue to rise due to climate change, these natural cues become distorted. They may arrive too early or too late compared to what these animals are normally used to. As a result, the timing signal that the population relies on become unrelevant. This disruption doesn't just stop at environmental cues, it also disrupts hormonal regulation. Reproductive timing in this animal is controlled by temperature-sensitive hormone pathway, particularly a hormone called GnRH or gonadotropin-releasing hormone. This hormone regulates gametogenesis, which is the production of egg and sperm, as well as overall spawning readiness. When temperature rises unusually, especially during marine heat wave, the timing of hormone release gets shifted. This can alter gonadal development, and in some species, it can even affect sex determination. When both environmental cues and hormone regulation get thrown off, this leads us to our third point, asynchronous spawning. Asynchronous spawning happens when individuals within a population release their egg and sperm at different, uncoordinated times instead of all at once. Normally, spawning is synchronized, meaning large number of eggs and sperm are released together at the same time. This synchrony is what maximizes the chances of successful fertilization. Finally, let's talk about why fertilization decreases as a result. Many of these marine animals are broadcast spawners, meaning they release their eggs and sperm directly into open water. For fertilization to succeed, eggs and sperm need to be present in the same place at the same time and in high enough concentration. But when spawning becomes asynchronous, gametes end up dilute and misaligned in the water. This drastically lowers the chances of sperm actually meeting and fertilizing an egg. In fact, research on the Mediterranean mussel, Mytilus caloprovincialis, showed a measurable decline in fertilization rate even with just a small increase in water temperature. Overall, we can see a clear chain reaction. Rising temperature disrupt environmental cues, which disrupt hormone regulation, which cause asynchronous spawning and ultimately result in reduced fertilization success.
Hi, my name is Nurin Fatusha binti Hanafia and my student ID is 2025143681. Next, I will explain how asynchronous spawning affects the marine food web. Normally, many marine animals release their eggs and sperm into the water at the same time. This synchronized spawning increases the chance of fertilization because eggs and sperms are present together in a large number. However, climate change causes ocean temperature to rise and change the environmental cues that animals use to determine when to spawn. As a result, different individuals may release their gametes at different times. This phenomenon is known as asynchronous spawning. When spawning is not synchronized, fewer eggs and sperm meet in the water, so fertilization success decreases. Physiologically, this means that fewer embryos are formed, leading to the fewer larvae and tuna fish. Since fewer young fish survive to adulthood, the overall population gradually declines over time. This decline does not only affect one species. Juvenile fish are an important food source for many predators, including larger fish, seabirds, turtles, and marine mammals. With fewer prey available, predators must spend more energy searching for food. Some may grow more slowly, produce fewer offspring, or experience lower survival rates. This demonstrates how reproductive changes in one species can influence the physiology and survival of many others. As fish populations continue to decrease, the marine food web becomes unbalanced. Some species may become rare while others increase uncontrollably, reducing biodiversity and making ecosystems less stable. In addition, fisheries are directly affected because fewer adult fish are available for harvesting. This reduces seafood production, threatens the livelihood of fishing communities, and may also affect food security for people who rely on fish as an important source of protein. Therefore, a disruption in spawning does not only reduce fertilization success, it creates a chain reaction that affects predator-prey relationship, biodiversity, ecosystem stability, and even human society.
To protect our oceans, we need to use better and more sustainable ways of fishing. This means setting catch limits, following fishing seasons, and protecting adult fish so they can reproduce. We should also create marine protected areas where fish can live and breed safely. Another important step is reducing pollution and slowing climate change because healthy oceans help fish survive and reproduce. We also need to monitor fish during their spawning seasons. This helps scientists know when and where fish reproduce so they can protect them better. Finally, taking care of the ocean is everyone's responsibility. Governments, businesses, and communities should work together to protect marine life, support fishermen, and keep our ocean healthy for future generations.
Good day everyone. To conclude our presentation today, let us recap the key points we have discussed. First, climate change impact. Rising ocean temperatures disrupt natural environmental cues. Second, physiological disruption directly affects the BPG, brain, pituitary gonad axis, and hormone regulation. Thirdly, call for sustainability. Mitigation efforts like MPAS are critical to safeguarding the future of marine ecosystem. Fourthly, the main consequence leads to asynchronous spawning significantly reducing fertilization rates. And lastly, ecosystem threats weakens the marine food web, triggers biodiversity loss, and threatens global fisheries. Thank you.